The Backrooms is an idea that took over the internet by storm in the 2020s, and it's honestly fascinating how this single mysterious photo of a weird-looking yellow room became such a massive part of internet culture, from YouTube videos to lore wikis and video games, even popularizing the entire concept of liminal spaces, and eventually it just became a stupid meme.
The Backrooms, dingle dangle dingle.
The sheer variety of stuff the internet has done with the Backrooms over the years is crazy to me. There's just such a wide range of interpretations, like how on one hand you can be driven to insanity as you wander the empty halls, and on the other you can be running away from Obama beatboxing. And recently, it reached a new peak of becoming an entire movie, which I still can't believe is real. I witnessed the Backrooms go from a simple creepypasta to selling out movie theaters. So today I want to take a look back at the Backrooms to see how we even got to where we are today. Starting out with where it all began, the even more terrifying dimension of 4chan. Because back in 2019, this mysterious photo was posted on a thread about images that just feel off, and an anonymous user replied with a creepy short story about the image, about how if you no-clip out of reality, you end up in the Backrooms, a near infinite dimension of moist carpet, yellow wallpaper, and the never-ending buzz of fluorescent lights. Somehow this post would end up inspiring one of the biggest internet phenomenons of the decade, which isn't even much of a surprise because it's such an interesting idea. Being all alone in an infinite dimension of randomly empty rooms is sure to drive anyone to insanity, yet it's still so mysterious that it activates my desire to explore. And I love how it applies the video game logic of no clipping out of reality, which taps into that otherworldly feeling that liminal spaces already have, but just the suggestion that there might be a creature wandering around is terrifying. Especially with how there's obviously nowhere to hide in this maze of empty rooms. And on top of all that, the image itself is just so weird, because the more you look at this room, the more it just makes no sense. The walls really do feel randomly placed, and the icky yellow color scheme is disgusting. But the worst part is the fact that you can't even tell what this room is for. There's no people, no windows, and no things at all, which makes it feel really strange and liminal. And for the longest time, we didn't even know if this photo was real at all, which only added to the mystery. Maybe it really is a different dimension. But eventually, after over 5 years straight of scouring across the entire internet, we finally found the mysterious origin. And it's actually just an old furniture store in Wisconsin, who would have guessed? Although specifically while being remodeled into a Hobbytown RC car racetrack in 2003. And along with that strangely specific explanation, we also have a bunch of other photos of the same room during renovations, which are really surreal to finally see after so long. And they all have that same vibe of randomly placed walls and weird lighting. And this one with some weird arches ended up being pretty iconic as well. It's even referenced in the freaking Backrooms movie. The fact that this one Hobbytown renovation in 2003 produced not one, but 2 iconic images along with an entire internet subgenre and a movie is ridiculous. But just like the Backrooms, the internet is also a very dangerous place, roaming with hackers looking to steal your data, scam you with fake websites, or even try to get you to download malware. So good thing this video is sponsored by NordVPN. Despite what it might sound like, NordVPN is not just a VPN now. It's kind of like an all-in-one digital security app that combines the world's fastest VPN with next-gen antivirus technology. And it's all just one app with one subscription that'll protect up to 10 devices, which is crazy convenient. But what does it all do exactly? First off, we have the VPN itself, which will basically encrypt your internet usage and hide your IP from any entity that might want it. And it's literally been proven to be the fastest VPN in the world, so no need to worry about that. NordVPN also has a next-gen antivirus system, which will protect you from a variety of threats, such as warning you about scams, stopping you from going to fake stores, neutralizing dangerous phishing links, and even scanning your downloading files for malware so it never even ends up on your system in the first place. It even blocks dangerous ads and annoying online trackers too, which all comes together to make your internet browsing so much safer and convenient. So if you want to protect yourself against the dangerous entities of the internet, I highly recommend you check out the link in the description, or just go to nordvpn.com/Polygon for an exclusive deal that you don't want to miss out on. There's even a 30-day money-back guarantee, so what are you waiting for? Anyways, thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring me. Now back to the video. But as the 4chan post exploded in popularity, a community slowly formed around it on Reddit, and eventually they created the lore wikis, which are now the biggest Backrooms rabbit holes on the internet. Specifically the fandom wiki in 2019 and the wikidot in 2020. Basically, these are websites where people all over the world would make up insane, convoluted lore about the Backrooms, but inspired by the legendary SCP Foundation in the wiki-style format. First, they came up with the whole idea of backrooms levels, where each level has different visuals and mechanics, such as the level 1 parking garage or level 4 abandoned office, or even level fun or level run for your life. And by now, there's hundreds of different levels to explore. It's actually insane. And they're usually adaptations of other iconic liminal images, which I'll talk more about later, such as Kitty's house on level 974, which is one of my favorites, because he's just so cute.
So cute!
There's also a bunch of creatures and entities you have to watch out for, like the Smilers or Skin Stealers or Party Goers, and there's a plethora of rules and mechanics on how to survive this ridiculous dimension, such as drinking specifically almond water to not go insane for some reason. And by now, these wikis are such a massive rabbit hole with hundreds of levels and entities to read about, and the sheer popularity of the wikis inspired a bunch of other online content as well, such as YouTube videos explaining the lore, and renders about exploring the different levels, or even an entire multiplayer video game called Escape the Backrooms, with fully explorable adaptations of some of the most iconic levels and creatures. There's even almond water as an actual game mechanic. For a wiki that already feels so much like a video game, it finally makes a lot more sense in an actual video game format. But eventually the wiki lore became very controversial online, with many people saying it ruins the liminal cosmic horror of the original post, which I do agree with, not gonna lie. The lore is a convoluted mess of random entries that don't fit together at all, but I feel like that gives it its own special charm somehow as a huge community project. I've also seen a lot of people online just assume the wiki lore is the true official canon of the Backrooms, but it's really not that serious. The wiki is just one of many interpretations of this idea, and I think it serves its purpose of being the more ridiculous version of the Backrooms. If you don't like it, you could just ignore it. Or even take a look at the many other interpretations of the Backrooms, such as the other most popular version, the Kane Pixels series. In 2022, the YouTuber Kane Pixels posted the now legendary Backrooms found footage video, a little short film where somebody accidentally no-clips into the Backrooms. And it's such a perfect adaptation of what made the original 4chan post so interesting. It's so lonely as he explores these strange empty rooms beyond comprehension, until eventually we catch a glimpse of an unknown creature in the distance as he runs for his life, all wrapped up in a fuzzy VHS effect that makes it feel so realistic to watch. And this video got so popular that it pretty much skyrocketed the Backrooms into the mainstream. And he made all this when he was only 16. But Kane didn't stop there because he eventually expanded it into an entire series that's genuinely so freaking good, complete with its own fully original lore that has nothing to do with the wikis whatsoever. The Kane Pixels adaptation has a more grounded sci-fi approach, with a bunch of videos being from the perspective of the mysterious async company as they research this strange dimension, which is also where the iconic yellow hazmat suit people come from. And these silly guys became so popular on their own that almost every Backrooms related thing on the internet uses them now. But sometimes random people discover these things called a null zone, or accidentally fall into one out of nowhere, which sucks. And they're basically areas where objects can literally phase through reality, almost like the Backrooms is a dimension in between time and space itself, which is such a cool adaptation of the video game no-clipping idea from the original post. Although the Backrooms is actually called the Complex in Universe, and at first it's the usual maze of randomly empty yellow rooms, but instead of the levels that the lore wiki does, sometimes this place will just fade between different environments in completely nonsensical ways. One minute you're walking around the same old yellow rooms, and the next there's just an entire house indoors, which kinda reminds me of how you never remember the beginning of a dream, they just kinda all fade together. This version of the Backrooms is such a surreal and dreamlike environment, and I feel like it represents a fading memory of reality, where everything is haphazardly placed and stretched around in ways that don't make any sense, such as the random holes in the ground for some reason. I just love how not a single room has a clear purpose for existence, kinda like it's the uncanny valley of environments, if that makes any sense. Overall, the Kane Pixels series works so well because no matter how much lore is explained, it's still shrouded in so much mystery. And I love how throughout the entire series, you barely ever get to see the creatures, which just fills you with so much dread every second somebody's alone in there. But the craziest part is the fact that for the most recent installment, he directed an entire Backrooms movie. And he's only 20 now, look at him go! Kane's so freaking cool, dude. Out of anybody I'd trust to make a Backrooms movie, it's this guy. And he delivered, because this movie is insane. I don't really want to spoil anything, because it is absolutely bonkers and weird in such a cool way. Finally being able to explore the Backrooms through a cinematic lens felt so surreal. It was also really fun to watch, and scary, and even downright disturbing at times. And there's so much symbolism symbolism to dive into for what the Backrooms represents. Even if you haven't seen the original series, I still highly recommend you watch the movie, especially because it does a great job at explaining the lore while still keeping it really mysterious. Although for some reason, there's a lot of people hating on the movie for not following the TikTokified wiki lore. Like, some people were actually mad that there weren't hundreds of levels in almond water, even though it's obviously about the Kane Pixels series in particular. Anyways, the sheer popularity of this series inspired an entire new era of Backrooms content on the internet, especially with the yellow hazmat suit characters just being everywhere now. But it also led to a renaissance of found footage Backrooms videos, with countless artists exploring their own ideas and adaptations of the Backrooms, such as swapping out the color scheme, which is always fun, and some people get really creative with it, like this is so surreal, or even diving into other liminal spaces too, such as the Poolrooms, which I will once again get into later. There's even an entire video game specifically inspired by the Kane Pixel series called The Complex Expedition, which lets you wander around a fully explorable interpretation of the complex. And this game is such a good adaptation of what the found footage videos feel like to watch, because it's so quiet and lonely as you wander around these strange rooms, but for some reason it's kinda cozy and relaxing to me, especially because there's no monsters chasing you around, yet the uneasiness still never leaves because something is definitely stalking you. All with a shaky, fuzzy camcorder filter, which makes it feel insanely immersive. And there's such a wide variety of liminal environments, it's so cool. Such as the backrooms, the pool rooms, art museums, and whatever this is, I guess. And the found footage trend even extends to the lore wiki fans too, because there's now a bunch of found footage videos in all the different levels, such as the level 94 neighborhood, or a very wholesome birthday party on level fun. But as it usually goes on the internet, the Backrooms ended up being so popular that it pretty much became a brain rot meme. By now, literally anything you can think of was being shoved in the Backrooms, such as found footage of Saul Goodman being in there, or even Shrek in the Backrooms. And sometimes we're just having dance parties in there now, who even cares anymore? Eventually, most people just stopped taking it seriously anymore. The Backrooms kind of became like a fun hangout spot rather than a terrifying dimension, which I actually think is fine because it's all in good fun. But when content farms got a hold of it, they mutated the Backrooms into an oversaturated mess on the internet, with a constant stream of terrible YouTube Shorts level slop, pretty much just using the word backrooms as a buzzword to get views from kids. But even through all the sludge, there's still a bunch of genuinely funny stuff being made. I really like the Return to Render YouTube channel because they just make the most unserious, stupid backrooms videos imaginable, pretty much taking the yellow hazmat suit people and reducing them to despicable meme minions. And it's honestly so entertaining to watch them get up to all sorts of ridiculous shenanigans in the backrooms, especially with all the slapstick comedy, as they're always dying in the dumbest ways. Most people would probably call this slop, but I call this the premium slop. Although I do feel like an iPad baby when I watch this stuff.
Who's this guy?
But the ultimate culmination of ironic Backrooms memes is the Nextbots trend. What if instead of scary monsters chasing you around the backrooms, it was just a very loud PNG of Sonic? Nextbots are basically where you take a random image, give it an annoyingly loud bass-boosted sound effect, and just have it relentlessly chase you down. The usual suspects being things like SpongeBob, a nerd emoji, this dog, Obama, Kanye, Saul Goodman, creepypastas, and more. Originally, it started on Gmod and exploded in popularity in 2022, which is around the same time the Backrooms blew up, so it was a match made in heaven, especially because the liminal empty maze is actually really fun to be chased around in. Although this is the complete opposite of what the Backrooms was meant to be, but replacing the quiet liminal horror with something so violently loud and ironic is so funny to me. But no matter how stupid the Nextbots are, it actually is genuinely terrifying to be chased around by them. This funny dog PNG should not be raising my heart rate this much. But it doesn't always have to be the same old yellow wallpaper hell, because there's a lot of other iconic liminal spaces that are still heavily associated with the Backrooms. Such as the legendary indoor hotel photo, which is one of the most iconic images of this entire trend, because everything about it just feels so wrong. The lighting makes it all dark and mysterious because of the massive roof completely blocking out the sky. And there's this huge courtyard that's just completely flat and empty for no reason. And there's also like 6 stories of windows, all looking into this empty void. Nothing makes any sense here, so this whole place just doesn't even look real. So of course it became so popular that eventually it turned into a Backrooms level 188 great on the lore wiki, and there's countless recreations on different games like Gmod, Roblox, and VRChat. It was even featured in the legendary Kane Pixels video, but as mysterious as it may look, it's actually just a completely normal hotel in the UK, specifically the Crown Plaza London Heathrow T4, and it looks so normal on the outside. They even put Christmas trees in there one time. At least there's finally something on the empty courtyard. But genuinely, why did they build it like this? It's so weird. But next we have this living room photo that for some reason became really popular in the Backrooms community, and there's a lot of weird things to notice about it, such as the door in the corner leading to a dark and scary room, or the weirdly placed staircase in the middle also leading into darkness, or even the room on the right that for some reason is extremely blue.
Why are you blue?
If you've ever lived in an American suburb, it all looks so strangely familiar and nostalgic, yet the sheer emptiness makes it also feel so lonely. But once again, it's not really that mysterious, because it's actually just a picture of a normal house in Virginia posted on Flickr in 2007, which also includes some other angles that are really surreal to finally see. We also have the end picture, and this one is really liminal because it's a bookstore that is completely devoid of books, along with unpainted walls and a single CRT monitor just staring at you, all with an ominous "The End" sign on the ceiling, which is a crazy cherry on top. There's even another photo where it says "The end is near," which is even more ominous. Bookstores are supposed to be full of stories and wonder, yet here it is as a fading memory of itself, especially with the same gosh darn fluorescent lights and yellow walls. So of course it got turned into a Backrooms level on the wiki called Level The End, and it's even in the Escape the Backrooms video game too. And there's a pretty cool found footage video made by Complex Research. But once again, the origin isn't mysterious at all, because it's literally just a Borders store that was closing down in 2011. And I guess in a stroke of genius, an employee put up a "The End" sign while it was closing down. Get it? Cause like, the end books? Although my favorite part of this entire trend is the idea of the pool rooms. The pool rooms replaced the yellow wallpaper hell with infinite relaxing indoor pools, and this idea became so popular that it pretty much became a whole subgenre of the Backrooms. The artist Jared Pike pretty much invented this entire visual style all the way back in 2020. These renders imagine a world where every surface is made of perfectly smooth pool tiles, usually flooded with a shallow amount of satisfying pool water. But just like the Backrooms, the pools are surrounded by such incomprehensible architecture, such as random pillars, never-ending rooms and hallways that go nowhere, staircases that just continue underwater for no reason, and more. It's also always lit by natural sunlight through mysterious windows, which is kinda strange, usually leaving these ominous areas shrouded in darkness that are just beckoning to be explored. Somehow it all strikes the perfect balance between being relaxing yet still slightly unnerving, so it's not even surprising that they inspired an entire Backrooms subgenre on the internet, with countless renders and found footage videos and even entire video games, such as the YouTube channel Matt Studios that made a bunch of peak pool rooms found footage videos, and these videos are just so cozy to me for some reason. There's no monsters, no talking, no getting driven to insanity. It's pretty much just silently walking around the pools while stopping to take in the sights. And the pools in question are really unique and interesting, such as this iconic room with the rainbow slides and fake sky wallpaper, or this massive room with a huge fake skylight. And the VHS effect is so soft and fuzzy, I love it. Yet there's still moments of dread as the cameraman ventures into the darkness. Even the stupid Return to Render channel made a bunch of videos in the pool rooms too, such as this one that turns it into an entire water park for everyone to hang out in, which is just ridiculous. I love how they still keep the hazmat suits on. It looks so dumb. I'm sorry, these videos are so funny to me, dude. There's even an entire video game called Pools, which finally lets you explore these pool rooms beyond comprehension for yourself. And once again, there's no creatures whatsoever, so you're free to just wander around and witness the chaotic pool architecture for yourself, which is actually really fun and cozy to me. I love it. Especially because the sheer variety of pools they came up with is insane. Sometimes there's even water slides, which is so fun. And yes, of course you can ride them, why not? And sometimes it just gets ridiculous. Like, what is even going on anymore? Also, the Complex game I mentioned earlier has a pool room section too, which is really cool to walk around in with the hyper-realistic camcorder filter this game has. Overall, the pool rooms are kind of like if the collective memories of indoor pools and water parks were all mixed together into one nonsensical dream, and is just the perfect balance between liminal nostalgia and the never-ending dread of incomprehensible architecture. But the best part is the fact that it looks so fun to explore. I just want to wander around these infinite pools for hours and find the most fun ones to swim around in. But no matter how relaxing this place may be, there's still always the fear of the unknown. Just imagine staring into the darkness and hearing a little splash in the distance. Anyways, as you can see, the Backrooms as a whole is such a one-of-a-kind internet trend, inspiring lore wikis, YouTube series, video games, memes, an entire aesthetic, and even a whole movie. It's just such a cool example of the internet being inspired to make stuff. Whether you like the wiki, or the Kane Pixels series, or even the brain-rot Roblox games, there's really something for everyone. And I think it's all just really freaking cool. And the Backrooms are still evolving to this day. Like how recently there's a whole new trend of art about depicting different historical cultures discovering the Backrooms, which is so sick. Or even applying the Backrooms logic from the movie to completely random things, like the Google Snake Backrooms or Windows XP Backrooms. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you learned something interesting because this took a lot of research. And make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what Backrooms level is your favorite or something, I don't know. Okay, bye!